flags are to my right. Let's start off with the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's keep the folks on the island in Hawaii in our thoughts and prayers as they attempt to recover, and for those that lost their lives and their families. Thank you.
Notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Law have been satisfied concerning this meeting. The Home News Tribune published a notice on July 16th, the Star Ledger on July 18th, the posted on municipal bulletin board. It should be so noted in the minutes of this meeting. Councilman Bauer.
Here.
Councilwoman De Jesus.
Here.
Councilwoman McCullough.
Here.
Councilwoman Meehan.
Here.
Councilman Patel. Councilman Small. Councilman Spiller.
Here.
Vice President Anderson.
Here.
And President McCarron.
Thank you. Mr. Mitch, if I could just mention at this time that Councilman Small is out of state on vacation and sends his regards and regrets for missing the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I get a motion to open the meeting to the public at this point?
Kyle? Sorry. Motion. Second.
Any comments or questions from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. This public meeting is now open to the public for any comment. Hearing no comment, can I get a motion that the public comment portion be closed?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. President, we're going to begin with the following the index that's at the beginning of your budget book. We'll be starting with the police department this afternoon. Director Hubner. We'll begin with 2210 is his budget. That's salary and wages, pages 34 through 39, and OE 86 to 93. I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask for your indulgence for one moment. Before we do so, we have to take action on the ordinance and resolutions. My apologies. I presented in front of you letter A, which is an ordinance to establish the cap bank. So with your approval, I'd like to get a motion to pass this on introduction, publish it in the Home News Tribune on August 18th, with notice of public comment and public hearing to be held on September 12th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Again, my apologies. And also resolutions 1 through 5, they're the computation for the reserve for uncollected taxes, the same using the 3-year average, the introduction of the fiscal year 24 budget, and the introduction of the SID budgets for both Main Street and Oak Tree Road.
Motion.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Now to Director Hubner.
Council, open the floor up, or do you want me to start? It's up to you. Anybody?
start.
Anybody? Director, I know we talked a little bit about this, but on page 90, line 4520, motor vehicle repairs, there's a little difference between last year and this year, and I know you gave me a brief explanation, but I was wondering if you could just jump on that one more time.
Sure, absolutely. So with the increase of sworn personnel, we obviously have to increase in the amount of cars we operate. We also, like many departments around the state, and I'm sure the nation, are having problems getting new vehicles. A lot of companies have discontinued police packages, so we can foresee having to keep the cars we have now on the road longer, so obviously there'll be additional maintenance, so that's why the increase. And obviously the price of everything has gone up over the last year or two.
Isn't that true? Thank you.
Council President,
Yes, please.
question. Director, I noticed in some of the descriptions of positions that there's a position called recruit. How long is that position in effect for a police officer?
Well, from the day they're hired, we usually have to do pre-academy training, which is anywhere to 4 to 5 weeks. Then they go to the academy for almost 4 months. Once they graduate, they are no longer a recruit, they are a police officer, but then they come back to the PD or the police department. There's several more weeks of in-house training, and then they're with a field training officer. So to answer your question, recruit status is probably 5.5 to 6 months, somewhere in there.
I have a question on page 91, and I did get an answer, but just in case anybody in the public has the same question. Other outside services, $49.95?
Other outside service, yes. That increased drastically because we added a vendor. I identified them as straight line. That was a mistake. It's actually traffic line. But they will do street painting and parking lot painting. We try to do in-house with our traffic maintenance unit, but sometimes the job is just beyond their scope. So we needed to add them on.
Thank you.
Council President?
Sure.
Another
Councilman
question,
Spell.
just I want to express my extreme pleasure when I found out, Mayor, Director, your goal of increasing our number of sworn officers again in the district. So just want to note that.
Thanks.
One more question.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna have a question regarding on page 93, 35, 10, about the salaries at the impound lot. It looks like we're increasing that dramatically. Can you
Right,
explain what's going on there, please?
Right, 3510 you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes, so that's increasing because we've taken on additional responsibilities with the tow yard. In the past, we had a number of outside tow companies that aided the police department that were obviously paid by the township or the police department to do that service. We have less tow companies, so we have actually taken on additional towing with the police department equipment. It's gotten to the point that we probably are going to have to hire at least somebody part-time, possibly full-time, so that's why that increase is there.
And why is the towing increasing? Like, is it the number of tows or just because we have less tow companies?
Less tow companies, but we've taken on, because of some of the requirements by the prosecutor's office and the attorney general with evidence, certain types of crashes or arrests, where in the old days, we would have a tow company come out. Because of chain of evidence, we now try to use our own tow vehicle, so we keep that chain of evidence and we keep it in our storage area.
Thank you.
Directors, Vice President Anderson, did you have a question?
Yeah, but I'll.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Councilwoman DeJesus had touched on some traffic issues, and for the public, I've been asked recently about painting on streets, as far as what intersections require a mile per hour that's painted on the street. Is that after a traffic study or something that is performed in order to determine what gets painted on the street to tell people to slow down as they're
Right. So
approaching?
the answer's kind of twofold. We do traffic studies, but that's mostly the engineer's recommendation. The municipal engineer will go out, look at something in conjunction with the engineering department. We will do a traffic study through our traffic enforcement unit, and with that data, we'll determine whether we should paint, additional signage, or whatever else needs to be done.
Do we ever determine whether or not there has been an improvement? Do we do a study after the fact to see if there's an improvement in any reduction in accidents?
We
or
do. So we'll check the crash data prior to and then after to make sure that what we've done is sufficient. Because if it's not, obviously we have to get a plan B.
Thank you.
So, Councilman, just to round off your question and talk about the township engineer. So the township engineer will look at state and local regulations for traffic with either a signage or painting, and then apply those standards. So sometimes we may want it, and sometimes the law may contradict with what we think is right. So he applies that standard, and he passes that down to the police department. They then put up the signs or the signage necessary.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I just have one more question about
Sure.
the tow yard. I don't know why I'm on this, but, so now that we're gonna hire additional people and we're taking on that ourselves, do we feel that we're going to be earning more income from the tows that are coming in now because
Yeah.
we're not doing outside companies? And the offset should be to our advantage if we hire a person there? Is that what is that kind of what we're doing?
Absolutely, and, I actually should have mentioned that to you. There's been a marked increase over the last several years in revenue of the tow yard, and it's substantial.
Thank you.
We do auction those cars off. So if we impound a car, and we have for a long period of time, and the fines and the fees go over what the car is worth, and they turn it over to us, or they abandon the vehicle, we then auction the car off for more proceeds.
In addition, sometimes through criminal charges, we seize vehicles. They're included in the auction also.
Thank you.
Director, I have one quick question. Again, we discussed this, and you can see on the revenue side that we make a pretty good deal of money on the digital trunk radio system that we share with Perth Amboy, but on the expense side, page 96, line 5295, the expenses for that Perth Amboy Woodbridge relation, people hear that, I don't think they quite understand what that means with that digital trunk system.
So it's part of our radio system, and Motorola is our vendor. We entered into a new contract, so that's why the increase. But we also, we supply services to Perth Amboy and some other towns, and they use that trunk system.
Great, very good. Council, any other questions for Director Hubner? All right, seeing none, Director, thank you very much.
I have a comment.
Okay.
Sorry. I just basically want to say that I want to thank the police department because in the last couple of years, especially this year, Community Affairs has done a tremendous job in coming up with different events to interact with our residents and our community in a positive way. And I just got to commend you, everybody in charge, and all of our men and women in our police department because they're doing an exceptional job, not only when they're answering to calls, but also when they do events like National Night Out, which was a phenomenal event. It was great to see the response from our community and our response from our police department. The Eric B. Ransom Junior Police Academy this year, we lost Eric, but you guys did an amazing job in paying tribute to him. And again, the parents are responding in a positive way because that Junior Police Academy, usually both weeks are closed, and are filled to capacity, even when you have more children wanting to do it. And, just an advertisement coming up, you guys have a bicycle rodeo. When I saw the flyer, I was like, oh, this is neat, which it's the first time I believe, but it's those events that are planned through Community Affairs that involves the men and the women of the police department that does what we've always wanted, and that is to have a positive interaction between the police department and our residents. So on behalf of myself, my family, and I'm gonna take it upon my shoulders to say thank you for the council. Thank you for a job well done.
Yeah, I appreciate that, thank you. And without the support of the township administration and you, the council people, who are always out there supporting us, we were able to do that, so thank you.
Director, before you leave though, and I know Mr. Kenny is here with you, the council, do you have any questions on the other two line items underneath the impound yard or the Office of Emergency Management? They would follow under the salary and wages 39 through 40 and OE 94 through 101.
Council, I have one question, but I'll open it up first in case anybody wants to know. Guys, I'm looking at page 100, Emergency Management, line 4995, Other Outside Services. In our 2023 budget, we actually spent $6,000, and we're asking, we budgeted $6,000, actually spent considerably more than that, and then for the request for 2024, we're kind of in the middle with 40K. Can you explain?
It comes down to the Code Red, which is the announcement that we send out each week with COVID and stuff. The price has gone up for Code Red, so we had to take from one line item to actually make it whole for last year. So what they did is we actually put it into one line item, so this year it should just be one now.
Good. You
We
think
won't have to add it back.
when that was so extremely important during COVID, and I think it's got rave reviews going on. Can we save any money if the mayor leaves off his jokes at the end?
No, we're got a specific amount of minutes
Okay.
and per call, so he uses all of them.
Very good, thank you.
Can I just make one
Counsel,
comment
sure.
too? Just seconding with Lizbeth said. I just want to thank the police department too. I've been involved with them through the year, through different things, especially at Christmas time. And I know a lot of your gentlemen and women, they volunteer their time. They don't get paid for it. And they do a fantastic job interacting with this community. And it really has made a difference. So I commend their work and I thank the police department for all they do. Thank you.
Anyone else, counsel?
Page 98, emergency safety supplies, 4120, increase of 15,000. Can you explain that, please?
That was for with the COVID, getting hand sanitizer and wipes and stuff that we try to keep for all the police officers. We actually do drop some off the fire departments too to keep it up. I know COVID's non-existing, but you never know when it's gonna come back, and we try to make sure that we have a supply of everything. So in case we do have another hit of it, we have our mask and all the other stuff that we need for it.
Thank you. I'd like to make one comment. Department Office of Emergency Management, they're there to back the police department, back up the public. Like any public event we have, you guys are always there, always willing to support our community, 24/7. Me being in the fire department, we have big fires, Office of Emergency Management, and Pat yourself, you're always there for us, like the police department, all our first responders. But we can't thank you and your crew for all you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just, I think, a general thank you from our council. But we all have our specific events that we support, and I've always appreciated having that presence there and the support from the police department and Office of Emergency Management. Thank you.
We're going to move into the Division of Assessment. Mr. Richard Duda. So that would be salary and wages, page 11, OE pages 37 through 38. Again, Mr. Duda is available for questions.
All righty. Hey, Rich, how are you?
Good evening, council.
I'm personally good with Mr. Duda's department, but I'm opening up to council. Anyone? Crickets.
I'm good.
I think we're all,
All right.
no quiet.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, council. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you.
Good night, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Tax.
Mr. Richard Lorenzen, Tax Collection and Sewer Administration.
I think everybody's afraid of these guys.
And the tax collector would start on salary and wages, page 10, OE 3435, and then we'll go into sewer administration after the tax collector.
All right. Mr. Rich, how are you, brother?
Very good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Checking in with council on the areas. Take a minute. I don't want to move fast because I know we've got to find it and then look through your questions. So if anyone has,
Yeah, I just heard the question. Page 10 and 34 and 35 on tax collection. If not, do we look at the sewer administration?
yeah, I think we can throw that in there. Just add it right in.
Again, that would be page 83 S and W and 181 through 184.
Director Lorenzen, I think people are just afraid to challenge you on your numbers. I
Can't blame them.
know, being you're the treasurer of so many organizations. Questions, anyone, or are we good with the director? Good to my left?
I'm good.
Good to my right? Director, nice job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for all you do and keeping us afloat here in Woodbridge.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll go into purchasing and utilities and bulk purchases. Will be Jen Burns. Starting with purchasing, which would be S and W, would be page 5, OE 17 and 18, and once we're through that, we'll jump into utilities and bulk purchases.
All righty. Hello, Director Burns, you're up
Hello.
high on the pages here, so.
Yep.
Council, look at your location and your budgets, and let me know if you have any questions for the director. Personally, I don't, Jen. It's okay.
The win.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Good. To my left, we're good? All right, Director, I think, Kyle, did you have, we're good? Director Burns, I think we're good. Your presentation was well done. We appreciate what you do, and we know that purchasing is extremely important. There's a lot of rules and regulations, and we appreciate
Yes.
your efficiency.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you. We'll go into personnel. Darren Crocker, salary and wages, page 8, and OE 26 through 28. Mr. Crocker is here.
Director Crocker, how are you?
And well, Council President, yourself?
Good, thank you. You're high up on the agenda here. Your numbers are hot there. I mean, in the page of the book, not finance.
Understood.
All right, don't get nervous.
Not under the temperature.
Yeah, we just whizzed through 2 departments. I think might make it 3 for 3. Folks, find your locations and let me know if you have anything. Go ahead.
I have a question. On page 27, the office machines, it was just a $9,000 increase from previous years.
Right, correct. So when we restructured 3 years ago, we inherited the existing personnel equipment. We replaced our copier this past year, which was a $8,000 expense, and we plan to replace PCs in the upcoming fiscal year.
Okay, thank you so much.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
On page 27, 4995, just, there's a significant increase this year. Can you just let me know what those outside services are?
Sure. So we, last year, decided to upgrade to ADP as a human resource information system overall for the township. So that increase, streamlining our hiring, human resource processes, procedures, ultimately, time and attendance and benefits. It's costing, at the ADP cost for our 1,250 plus 300 seasonal employees for the cost of the year.
Thank you.
So just to give you a little insight to that, so right now, instead of an employee reaching out to personnel, they can actually go on their phone, use the app. They can see how many days they have off, how many days they have pending, what their salary is. So instead of making that call, you're going for a loan or you're at a car dealership, all your information's on your phone.
Okay, great, thank you.
I have a question. 4895 on page number 27 also. Can you explain that you had, there's some transfers in and then over the amount that we budgeted for? Can you explain all of that for me, please?
Sure. So we did this year diversity and sensitivity training for our management level. We're going to continue that throughout this year for all of our employees, the other 840 or so full-time employees throughout the township.
Director, is that online, those courses?
No, it'll be in-person training.
Great.
Yep. With an outside legal firm that's done all of our management, and they've also done other township affiliation departments.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for Director Crocker?
One question, excuse me, on page 26, Director, I notice your summer help. Now, is this just for your office? Because that seems awful low for summer
Yeah,
help in
that's
general.
strictly for the human resource
For
office.
your office?
Yep.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else from the council? To my right?
Nope.
To my left? Director, we appreciate the efficiency that you run your department with. We know it's a big task. If you were in corporate America, you'd probably be making a lot more money, but we do appreciate your effort.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
We're going to go to information systems. Or
So,
we're gonna-
so there's we have a new director, he started last Wednesday, so we're gonna try to field those as best we can.
Right, okay, so
So-
those are under the utility under S&W page 84, OE 185 through 188. And information systems, I did skip over controller. We're gonna come back with the other administration towards the end.
All righty. give you a few minutes.
Sorry, what was the last pages?
185 to 188, and the pages, that's O and E. I didn't catch salary and wages because they're contractual anyway, but knock yourself out.
Casey looked like he's ready to field any questions you have.
Why, didn't you not get enough sleep last night?
I was studying at 4 a.m.
Oh. Anybody to my right,
Good.
to my left? All right, well,
Council President.
sure, Councilman Anderson, go ahead.
Looks like we exceeded our overtime estimations for 2023 by about 60,000. And we're asking for 21,000 again. Do you know if was there a system problem or something that caused the excessive overtime this year?
So what we've done is we've taken those numbers from the overtime and we've put it into their salaries. It'll go spread across, so we've kind of taken away the overtime and they will go on a ticket. So they'll be on call, they'll flex their time instead of being on an overtime call. And so when something goes down on a Saturday or a Sunday with the PD or at nighttime, that's where those numbers came in. So with the new director, we moved some things around.
Okay, so we're not anticipating, because it looks as though for the last 5 or 6 years, we've been at the exact same amount.
So not with the new system we have in place, so we should be fine.
Okay.
Anybody to my right? To my left? All right, we can move on, Mr. Mitch.
Thank you.
The lovely Director
Next,
Gordon.
next I do have up TV 35, though. Is Gina Forbes with us? No? Okay, we're gonna then go to Planning and Development. Director Darden is here, beginning with her office, which is S&W page 29, OE 73 through 74. All her pages are going to flow in order, but we'll start with the Director's office first.
Go ahead. You have a question? No? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said you had a question. Go ahead, Director.
Yes, Director,
Councilman.
thank you for being here. I noticed that in some of the description of some of the positions, there are titles known as trainee. How long does a person have the title of a trainee?
Should not exceed 2 years
2 years?
at max.
Okay.
And if they develop along faster than that, we move them along as fast as we can.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
On page 29, which is 5330, it's the telephone expense? No? That's not it?
No, that's the salaries on page 29.
Oh.
73, 74.
What are we on?
73,
Oh,
74.
sorry, excuse me, I'm sorry, in the wrong section. Apologize, excuse me. Go ahead.
If not, Mr. President, we can continue with her other S&W pages for planning board, zoning, housing, and construction. They go right in a row, S&W all the way from 29 to 33, and OE then from 73 up to 83. That would be all her divisions.
You're a busy woman. 73 to 83 on the other expense, folks.
I have a question on page 83, under miscellaneous expense. I just want to make sure there's anything with 70, it's the construction code. The item that ends in 5295. Nothing was requested last year, and there's a 2,500 increase. So why are we, if we didn't request anything last year, why are we requesting it this year? What is it for?
So specifically, as I know you're aware, so for well over a decade now, we're one of the largest permit issuers in the state of New Jersey. We typically issue over 5,000 permits a year from our construction office. This year, we closed out at just a tick under that, at about 4,800. And we've done well over 18,000 inspections. So we do anticipate, as I know you're aware, and I appreciate all of your sentiments. Tom Kelly, who really was kind of groundbreaking in arranging all this and everything that he did in the field, has taken ill. And so we anticipate in the coming year that we may be moving around some office spaces and making some adjustments to offices, and that's why we wouldn't have requested it in the past, and we're requesting it now.
Thank you.
Any other questions to my right for the director? Questions? Go ahead, Councilman.
Director, regarding continuing education and professional services, one is on page 74, and the other, I believe, is on page 76. So on page 74, we have continuing education. It doesn't seem as though we've taken up the budget on that for a while. It's a small amount, but we're continuing to budget for it, but it doesn't seem as though we're sending anyone to any classes.
Yeah, so during COVID, as you know, with no classes occurring, the American Planning Association started fluctuating our licensure renewal dates, which has an impact on how many classes we end up needing to take by what date. So we're anticipating that that's going to change again. And if it doesn't, you'll see us request something different in that line item. It's really so that we ensure, there's 3 of us in the department that are licensed planners. That's very unusual. Most towns don't have the luxury of having planners on staff that are licensed, and so we just need to make sure that we stay up and are well prepared for whatever continuing education requirements may
Okay.
now change back.
So next year, we'll probably, okay. And on page 76, we have professional services that seems to be significantly lower than the amount that we're budgeting for. That is line 4895.
Yeah, so that line item is conflict professional review, so we have professionals, and depending in a year, if there are any conflict review such that, I'll just mention that already in this year, we had our planner's office is within 200 feet of an application that's in front of the board, so we need a conflict review, so that is to ensure that we have money set aside for something like that.
Thank you.
Anyone else to my left? Second chance from my right. All right, Director, seeing no other questions, we thank you. The scope of the work of your department is absolutely incredible, and to be able to do it in a fiscally responsible way, we appreciate your efforts. So, thank you very much.
We're here to serve, and I appreciate your kudos. Thank you.
We'll go to the library, which is under the library tab in your books. Monica Heffinger is the director. She's before you right now, available for your question.
Good afternoon, Director. How are you?
Good, and how are you?
Very good. We're going to allow council to get to their pages. Monica, I know we had some discussion, but again, on page 6 in your area, line 317-80, we had reserved that we didn't use, and then we're back here in 2024. I know you explained it. Can you kind of describe what that reserve is for?
Okay, in the month of June, we stopped purchasing materials and to kind of make the fiscal year end in as neat a way as possible. But then the materials that come in, like time-dated materials, magazines, anything that comes in that is encumbered for the rest of the year and should be paid, we leave that money there to make sure those invoices are paid.
Perfect.
So,
No, I appreciate that. And then also, we discussed a little bit, page 12, line 510-10, equipment repair and maintenance. In actual, we spent around $7,000 in 2023, and we're requesting considerable amount more. And that would be because?
In addition to the chiller that we've had to ask the township to purchase with capital funds this year, there will be air handler needs. The air handlers in the building are also in need of replacement, but we're gonna have to repair and replace some of that equipment, and we feel that will cover that kind of an expense throughout the year.
Great. I think when you're in the library, whether for pleasure or research, the comfort level is very important, so I appreciate taking care of the infrastructure there. Council to my left, anyone for the director? Council to,
I just want to make a comment and thank you and your team for the programs that are provided to our community. In the schools, we encourage our students to utilize our library system as often as they can. I enjoyed the ceremony a few weeks ago, the dedication to Mr. Beckerman for his groundbreaking work and the development of the library system that we know today. And I look forward to working with you and your board and making sure that the library services are continued to be used.
Thank you so much, Councilman.
I would also like to make a comment. In the last couple of years, there's been a huge presence of the children's libraries in all of our township events. Your librarians for the children's department are phenomenal. The programming for the children's beyond anything I've ever seen. I used to take my kids there when they were younger, and it has gotten better and better. So I just want to say, again, thank you for always being present in all of our activities throughout the township and having your librarians there to interact with our residents and our kids. They are wonderful. So job well done.
Thank you so much. I hope you're as proud of them as I am. Really,
Sure.
We
the
are.
staff and the services.
go ahead.
I just want to make a comment too. I used to think that residents didn't use our libraries as much as they do. And since Colonia has been out of service, that is the one issue that everybody in Colonia is looking to resolve. And they really can't wait for it to come up and open again, because it was really used especially for the seniors and the children. And it was just a place for people to gather. So I know the residents of Colonia are truly looking forward to that branch being back open. So we can't wait.
It's an honor
Thank
to
you.
work in
Yeah.
a system with that much support. I can't thank
Yeah.
you enough.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Am I right? Monica, thank you again. The services you offer are so expansive, but yet you find a way to keep it financially in check. So we appreciate it. Please give our best to the staff too, and
Will
our
do.
appreciation.
Will do. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go into the municipal court. Salary and wage, page 61, OE page 156 through 158.
Bill,
Uh,
Dina Cole.
Director DiNicola.
What was the other expenses again, lines?
156 to 158. We might skip this for a moment. I'm not. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Mr.
Yeah.
Klepchak will take those questions. 156 through 158. I'll wait.
All right. I personally don't have any questions, but council, the floor is open. Let's not let Michael off the hook here. Am I correct to make a general statement that our court is one of the busiest courts in the state of New Jersey? Is that
That it is, Council President.
fairly accurate? So it's worth every dime because it brings in a
Director
few
Dina Cole
times.
does a fantastic job keeping it moving.
Absolutely.
He's extremely organized.
Anything to my right on the courts? Anybody to my left? All right, Michael, you're off the hook. We'll come back to you later.
We'll go into the Department of Health, beginning with Health Administration. S&W page 41, OE 102 through 104. And Mr. Bujowski, our director, is with us.
Good evening, all. Hey, what's up there, brother? I'm going to start off. I got a couple of questions, and I know we talked about this, Phil, a little bit, but page 103 under Health Administration, line 4995, Other Services. Actual in 2023 was 14,500, and we're requesting a considerable amount more. Could you give us an explanation of that?
Yes, sir. This is for our SDL, Special Data Logistics Program, and I believe that figure was underspent for that particular year, and we were simply not billed evenly with the noted fiscal year, and the requested amount remains accurate.
Excellent. And then if I can jump over to page 107, it caught my eye because the word Linden was in there. Linden Health Administration, SS 3020, it was line 3510, salaries. I noticed that there was no actual in 2023, but we requested 160, so I assume we didn't use it. And now in 2024, we're requesting a considerable amount more. So what's changed in
Yes, Council
there?
President. So that is the line item in the new division of our community outreach, specifically our health mobile. That was the inception of the mayor and Carolyn Ehrlich way back in, before we even did the fiscal year budget 23. That whole entity was dependent upon the manufacturing and the delivery of the health mobile itself. So what we did was, at the time, it was projected to be delivered around January of 2023, which would be half the fiscal year. We projected as best we could what the cost would be and cut it 50% for the second half of the fiscal year. As it turned out, due to manufacturing delays, the vehicle didn't arrive till late June, so we didn't incur any of those expenses. However, now that we see we'll have it for a full fiscal year, we're asking for that amount.
Great.
So Council President, just to correct that, your question was about community outreach, correct?
Yes.
The Linden portion of that sits on top of that in the budget is about, because you had mentioned Linden, correct?
Yeah.
Those are zeroed out if you look at it. So we had an interlocal agreement with the city of Linden that we used to go back and forth with, that we used to help them out. That is no longer in place. That was with Director Green. So he was answering the question for the community outreach, so I apologize.
No, that's
I don't-
okay. That was a good answer for
Okay.
that question, and yours was a good for the other. So it was all taken care of. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Director. To my left, go ahead.
Comment about that mobile unit. I really have to say, your crew is amazing. I'm at the Evergreen Senior Center quite often, and the seniors really like it when it's there. They come in, a lot of them sometimes don't feel well, they don't go to the doctors, and your staff there has just been so welcoming to them, and it really is such a great service. So thank you for all you do and all your staff.
Thank you, Councilwoman, for
It's
the
great.
kind word. As you know, just while we're on that subject, it was donated at no cost. And we staffed it with, we're in a budget hearing with a lot of cost-effective measures in mind. We used all existing staff. We only hired one non-existing staff member. As a matter of fact, that person, for those who were able to make the award ceremony, in 2 weeks on the job, ended up saving a choking victim, arguably saving their life. But the health mobile, it was the brainchild of Mayor and Carolyn Ehrlich. It offers free screening services, blood pressures, glucose, cholesterol, oxygen levels, heart rate. And it was delivered last June, as I said. We put it into service right away. And as you've seen from the schedule, we're focusing on our seniors, we visit our senior centers, resident senior buildings, underserved communities, and our residents at large. We were at Town Hall today. We've conducted approximately 400 screenings to date. Some of those screenings have identified issues of concern that the patients were not aware of, and they've been referred to their healthcare provider for appropriate follow-up. And if anyone wants to know where we're at, the monthly schedule can be found on the township website or the health department Facebook page.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I do when we go out to Casey for the backpack drive, Council President and I, the last 2 years we had, I think Hackensack Meridian, we're in their mobile clinic, But I want to commend your staff, because before you had the mobile clinic, your staff was there too. Under tent, doing the work that you're doing now in the mobile clinic. And when I heard about the mobile clinic, I was really excited, because I'm a firm believer that if the residents can't come to us, that we should be able to come to them and bring them the services that they need. And I am really proud that we were able to have a vision of a mobile clinic for the township, and to see it become a reality is very exciting, because now we can do a lot of more hands-on and community outreach. But again, prior to that, your staff said, I'm there, and they were there under tent servicing the community. So I just want to thank you and your staff for always doing a phenomenal job and always answering the call.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And we're blessed with a really passionate and talented staff, and they really care, and their, obviously, their actions speak to that. Thank you.
I just have a question and a comment. My question is on page 110 regarding drugs and pharmaceuticals. Over the last 2 years, it seems as though there's been a significant increase in request for drugs and pharmaceuticals, but yet what we're asking for this year is the same flat amount.
Yes, Councilman. So the increase is a combination of resuming our non-COVID child and adult clinics, related increase in drug costs. So that would answer the increase in the expenditures. What would answer the absence of requesting any more than we have, and I'll speak on this later, because it's something we're quite proud of, is our pursuit for grants. We secured a grant that item is specifically eligible for, and would offset the cost that we know going into this fiscal year. So we felt, to be fiscally responsible, we didn't want to ask for any more than we figured that grant would cover any overage of that request.
So I want to compliment you on your pursuit of grants. You've explained that at our council meeting a few weeks ago about some grants that were achieved by your department. So I want to thank you very much for that. It helps and assists with our budget when we can get it from outside sources. And I also want to thank you. We had received some noise complaints, and you were at our meeting, and you gave a great definition of how a noise complaint is evaluated and how it is handled. So I thought your explanation was thorough, and I thought that it was very clear and concise for our community to understand how noise complaints are handled. We do receive them often, and whether it's a neighbor or whether it's a business. It was great to know that our health department has a clear definition of how it is handled and the strategy in which it's handled. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. And as you mentioned grants and how that's so germane to our hearings here, over the past, your recognition of that, over the past 2 years, our staff and I have made concerted efforts to explore the availability of useful grants and aggressively apply for them. I'm pleased to share with you that for fiscal years 23 and 24, we've achieved a total of over $2,600,000 in grants, and just some examples of vaccination supplemental funding grant, a strengthening public health capacity grant, public health infrastructure, childhood-led investigation and abatement, Blue Cares. These things cover a lot of our cover complete costs of operationally of our specific to COVID clinics, but it covers a lot of costs of other important services and significant portions of our salaries. And thanks to the infrastructure grant in and of itself over the 2 years, $1,341,000, our aging health center will receive some much needed repairs and remodeling, and resultantly, that building will be viable for decades to come and continue to provide health services for our residents.
So I want to again say that we appreciate that, but we know that our residents and taxpayers appreciate that you're reducing the burden on the taxpayer to fund our health department. And being in education throughout the county, there's very few townships that have their own health department, and many of them do rely on the county, but knowing that we're getting funding outside of Woodbridge Township, it makes it even better that we have our own health department that knows our community, knows our residents, but we're keeping the costs down. So thank you.
So, Mr. President, while Mr. Brzezowski is here, we should also include animal control, environmental nursing, and drug addiction services. They follow in a similar S&W pages 41 through 54, and where we start at OE 102, goes as high as 137.
All right, I'm going to jump in there. Phil, on page 114, animal control, which is 3020, line 4895, professional services other. The last few years, we've requested $50,000, but always spent a little bit more, and we're back to $50,000 requested for 2024. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, so that cost has to do with us addressing injured animals, stray animals, and surrendered animals that need, and it's an appropriate thing to conduct our professional veterinary services, which has a cap to it. Any overage we're able to address with a trust that was provided specific to the animal shelter from a very caring donor.
Great. Thank you. Questions on any of Mr. Wachowski's departments, which are numerous? None to my left? None to my right? Well, Phil, I know your leadership style is to do things with the team together and everybody has input, so please extend our appreciation for a lean budget, but yet multiple services. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will go into Department of Senior Services. That will include Office of Aging, the Evergreen Senior Center, and all the other senior centers, as well as senior transportation. And Director Michelle Morgan will be before you. Her salary and wage pages begin at 47 and go through 58. And her O&E pages start at 128 and go through 143. Again, Mrs. Morgan.
Director Morgan, how are you?
Doing well, and you?
Very good, very good. We'll give the council a chance to flip some pages on their binders here.
Council President?
Go ahead.
Just not a question, just a statement. How incredible Maple Tree Senior Center has turned out. It's everything that I envisioned. But I see it at all the senior centers. Your staff does an incredible job. And they're seniors, and they kind of treat the directors like their own children. You know, they take it almost like part of their family because they're there, not every day, but when I get to go to the lunches and even the Golden Circle meeting, but just an incredible job by everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, you're absolutely correct. The staff is very engaging and supportive of the seniors. It is a second family. It's a second family and a second home for many of our seniors. So, yeah, Maple Tree has been very well received.
Thank you.
Anyone else to my left? Anyone to my right?
I'll just say a comment then. You really have done great work over there at Evergreen, not just the senior center, but the social department over there too. I know I've sent people there to you that have had issues, and your staff is always willing, and they're very kind and compassionate to these people that are in need. So please let them know.
Thank you. Woodbridge Township, with the support of the council, and we have a mayor that is absolutely driven to support older adults. So between 6 senior centers and transportation and social work, it really provides that kind of framework so that our seniors can live healthy and long and a prosperous life in our community. So thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Director, I'm wondering if we're going to run out of species of trees to name centers. Like, will that be the end?
We'll ask the mayor.
Yes. But also, thank you. I have been a big fan and have suggested that your department be renamed because it seems to me that you do more than just work with seniors, although as a senior, I understand how important that is. But I know you do a lot of work with the underserved, and you have forged relationships with organizations in our town and out of our town to service people. So extend our appreciation to your staff and your team, and good job on the budget.
I shall. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
We will now go to the Department of Public Works. Starting on page 16, which is the Office of the Director. That would be 16 would be S&W, and then page 43 through 44 on OE.
Are they all going to come in at once, the whole group? Could we do that?
Director,
George.
one door.
They all gonna come in.
I think if they all came in, that would be good. I don't know what you have in store there,
Just sit
Mr.
here.
Business Administrator, but
If they can, Mr. Similuk, if the
They should
division
sit over there.
heads- Yeah, great.
There we go. There you go.
They know.
They roll deep.
just in case I need backup. Yeah, you certainly don't travel light.
Sam, you want to see? Okay, we'll begin with the Office of the Director. Again, I gave you the page numbers, Mr. President. You want to start with that?
All righty, anyone for Director Brew? I'll look to my left first. We're kind of fussing around with our budget book, so give us a second if you will, gentlemen. All right, folks, I personally don't have any questions for you, but that is no reflection on the appreciation I have for the work you do for our town. So I'm going to pass on to our, yes, Councilwoman McCullough.
Hello, on page 44, can you explain the miscellaneous expense that you didn't use any of the money, you had no money budgeted this year, but for next year you put in 25,000?
5295, item 5295.
Yeah, so we added some funding in there for some of the community projects we do that are not funded through the other budget. Also, we use, for the handicap ramps we do around town, there's some maintenance and some supplies are needed. We typically get them donated, but we use that funding for that also.
Thank you.
Anyone else to my right? Anyone else to my left?
Just a comment.
Yep.
I know I make a lot of calls to Public Works and to Mr. Gellin, and you all just really work so hard for this township, and we truly appreciate everything you do. When we have a resident that has a problem, you go out there, you take care of them, you're kind to them, and it really matters. So thank you for everything you do for us.
So we'll go into the engineering division first, after the director is done, beginning with Mr. Gellin. We'll go down the line. Actually, if I can, Mr. Brew, as we get to each division, if you could introduce the council, your division heads.
So everyone knows Mike Allen, he's our engineer for the town. Thank you, Michael.
His pages are 17 and then 45 through 48.
Go ahead.
Hi, on page number 46, 4315, the computer software, did we get a new program that we needed to upgrade? It increased it by $40,000 than what you had budgeted. And then for next year, you're decreasing what you budgeted in 2023 by 20,000.
Right, this year was for GIS maintenance. It was more than we had imagined. And next year, we're gonna place it on the professional service. So we feel confident that the amount is correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, that'll be a 4895 will be the line item that gets moved to the next budget.
4895.
Council, anybody to my left?
Road repair and maintenance.
Okay, Mike, you're good. Kevin?
Wait, hang on one second, Michael. I'm sorry, if you're, it's not a question, but a statement. We appreciate the efforts of you in particular and the folks that you work with. It seems like every time we have a issue with environmental issues or structural issues, we somehow winds up in your lap, and we appreciate the delicate way in which you handle that, so thank you.
Thank you. I'll pass the message.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Road repair and maintenance, 18 and 19, and 50 through 53.
Okay, Kevin Tehan, he runs our road and streets and sewers department.
Welcome, Kev. Got a lot of page flipping going on over here, so.
Page 51.
So, Mr. Tehan, thank you very much for being here. Just something very simple. Copier supplies, you didn't have any last year?
Well, with the copier supplies is, it was basically for ink, but they changed something up in like the IT department where I didn't have to pay for ink anymore. So, which was great, you know?
Okay.
That was most my expense.
So that's good, but then
Yeah.
why are we asking for more money next year?
Yeah, I really shouldn't have probably put anything in there, but I just kept it at the same. I think it's 1,000 in there, right?
Uh,
Um,
2,500.
We're gonna just continue to carry that number in case should a copier break or anything along the way.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a maintenance portion of that as well, so, and we anticipate we will end up using it.
Director, I think in particular, the roads of our town are kind of our lifeline, and we appreciate the great work you do. And I know it's, I don't know how many miles of roads we have, but I know it's significant, and we appreciate it. And as I said to you and to all of our colleagues here, the lack of questions is not the lack of appreciation or respect. It's just that you guys are pretty efficient at what you do. So, thank you.
Council President, I have a question. Under page 51, 4210, budgeted last year 35,000, requested this year 35,000, but spent 111,000 under road material asphalt. Can you explain that, please?
That's the escrow.
Yeah, so, Councilman, we had done some paving projects, some of our own that weren't funded. Also, we did some work with the Board of Education. That money was put in an escrow account, so we have the money on hand in an escrow account to offset that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, I think
We'll go into snow removal and calamities, page 20, and 54 and 55.
That's also under the road department, so Kevin Tehan.
so. Kevin's a big weather watcher, huh?
Oh, yeah, yes.
It's a good year this past year.
Yeah, well,
Or repeat performance.
I know, light is good, for sure.
On page 54, item number 3600. So where overtime was almost doubled. And how did that come about? Because if it's for snow removal, I don't think it even really snowed much.
So,
Yeah, so.
just one thing, under that calamities, it says snow, but any major storm event that we have, whether it's flooding, rain, wind, any type of storm-related calamity gets charged off to this budget. So that's why the number sometimes depends on the year we have and what actually happens.
We did have a lot of rain.
And,
That big storm that came in with the flooding.
I think this budget item you can't predict, because you can't predict the weather, so you never know what you're getting, right, basically?
Right.
So
And then,
is it-
Manny, you want to mention the storm recovery fund?
Yeah, so basically, about 5 years ago, state came out and said that you could use in a trust account, a storm recovery account. So basically, what we have been doing is, in years where we don't use all our DPW money, we'll take some of that money and fund it into the trust recovery account, the storm recovery account. And whenever George's crews go into and clean a street or do any type of work that would help, if we get a storm, we charge some of that charges, whether it be S&W, whether it be expenses related to materials, equipment, can go against the trust account. That's what we've been doing, keeping that number low. Because if you look at it, that number
Yes.
had been in the past about $1 million.
That's what I was gonna.
So that's gone down, so we keep this number low, and we usually use the trust account to fund all the top of operations.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Go ahead, Councilman Anderson.
On page 54, under vehicles replacement of parts. Now, this is something that, I don't know if we asked this question last year, I'd have to go back to the videotape, but we seem to be around, spending around 100,000. And last year, we only appropriated 24,000 for this year, but then we spent 124,000, and we're back to asking for 128,000. Why the request was so low is perplexing.
So, Councilman, I believe this goes back to that same storm recovery trust, but we wanted to keep that money in our actual budget. So that's why this year we put it back in. We had pulled it out, we kept it at minimal, and then this year we put it back in, just for ease of operation and the operating on that.
Okay. I understand why. It's just I think I wouldn't want to mislead the public that we're moving money around differently every year. It's more about consistency in our budget.
Right, and previous years, we were consistent with that number.
Okay.
So, moving forward, we're gonna keep that number and, possibly a little more going forward.
Appreciate it.
Just a general comment in that calamities area there. We do appreciate some of the maintenance you do before the storms hit by cleaning out the streams. I think that makes a big difference when the storms do hit. So, and I think it puts the public at ease that we're not reacting, that, we're making those adjustments. So I know that's some of that area, the money you're talking about, Director Bruce. So we do appreciate that kind of foresight and thinking.
Right, and just to comment on our end with that, having the funds to do it, and, public, they see our equipment. Herdsbrook, right now, we have a long stick excavator out there. People don't even think we own a piece of equipment like that, but that's how we accomplish all that work. But it does require a lot of maintenance with that equipment. But, thanks to the council administration for the support that, we can have the equipment to do the work that we do. So, it's thanks on our end to you as well, because we really appreciate the support we get.
Cool. Anyone else? Ed sat up there, Kevin's been up there the longest of anybody tonight.
He's not done yet.
Yeah. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Street cleaning next, or you want to take something else, George?
Let's go to sewer maintenance,
Got it.
that's 8530.
Yep, so those will be pages 85 and then 189 through 191.
Anyone to my right?
No, I just gotta make a comment because I live on Clare Avenue. And one evening, there was an issue with the sewer lines. And your staff was there, and it was late in the evening. And they were there for a couple of hours answering the neighbors' questions and concerns. And they were there early the next morning to follow up. So it is, I appreciated the fact that, we didn't have a major catastrophe on our street because you responded immediately in off hours. So thank you for that.
We take pride in that.
Anyone else? All right, I think we're good.
Any other areas? You're good?
I just got
1633. Yeah, so we have 1633 is street cleaning.
Page 21 and 56 and 57.
Actually, I jumped over that, I went to
Yep.
8530, but 1633 is also in there, so that's the next one.
All right. Yes.
Just a general comment, I think the street street cleaning program is amazing. You know, you go to bed at night and you see some things out there and you wake up in the morning and everything is clean and you don't even know how it happened. So I appreciate personally the efficiency of the way that operation works and, you know, what it does. I'm sure there's maintenance as far as keeping our sewers clean and that kind of takes care of it. So we appreciate that for sure. Anyone else?
Just a question. In general, is the amount of trash that is picked up through the sweepers, is that evaluated or analyzed as far as the weight in which we pick it up and determine whether or not we're getting more litter or less litter in Woodbridge?
Well, it goes by cubic yards, and then I give a report to Mike McGill for the stormwater management once a year. So it's basically like, it's 5,000 cubic yards. It's kind of on the steady side all the time. It's around 5,000 cubic yards for many years. It always stays around there, but it's not calculated by weight. And when we dump it, then we test it, and then we get it through a accredited Carteret, and then those samples go up to the superintendent of Middlesex County landfill, and then they give you a price per however it comes back. So 9 times out of 10, it's always good. So they only charge us maybe like $20 a tandem load, which is great, you know, and they use it for cap in the landfill. So, but it's consistently around 5,000 cubic a year.
Anyone else have a question? Question? All righty.
We'll go to equipment repair, page 22 and 58 through 60.
Kevin, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Joe
Thank you.
Rudy.
So I have Joe Rudy, he runs our equipment repair division. He's more behind the scene guys, not too many people see his shiny trucks out there or his crews working, but he's key to keeping this township running. His crews maintain all of our fleet, and being a mechanic for so many years myself as well as Vito, Joe does a phenomenal job and his crews keeping all of our equipment to, running the way they should be and maintained.
As well as police vehicles.
That's great.
Just
Sure.
Just a comment, just to piggyback, the amount of savings that the township is getting by the amount of mechanics and the top-notch equipment that we have down in Catesby. The littlest thing, oil change, tire to transmission to the hydraulic line blew on the garbage truck. So with the money we're saving by investing in that is pretty beneficial, so I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone else? Equipment repair? All right, well, we appreciate your efforts. Thank you very much. You're so good at what you do, we don't have any questions.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you.
Joe,
Go
thank
into,
you.
Sanitation, pages 23 through 24 and 62 through 64. John Mattson.
Questions or comments for Mr. Madison?
Page, how you doing? 64, 5295, 2023, 2200, requested 2200 next year, but we actually spent 93,000. Can you explain that, please?
So, Councilman, we had a vehicle fire, the sanitation truck fire not too long ago. And our insurance company, the vehicle was totaled, the insurance company reimbursed us. We couldn't reimburse a capital expense, so we put this into operating, and we used it towards the purchase of another vehicle.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Question around fees and permits. The number seems to have declined significantly over the last 2 years. We're asking for the same amount. Is there something that we're doing in, or we're not seeking fees as many, as much, or not paying out that many fees?
This is for registering our vehicles that go to the landfill. Every 4 years, I believe it is, we have to do the entire fleet. But we keep this money in there because every year we wind up getting new trucks. They all have to be registered before they can go to the landfill. So that's why you'll see that lower numbers. If we only get 2 or 3 trucks in a year, we have to register those. If we get 10 trucks, then the number goes up.
Also, if we had different vehicles, whether it be a road department, parks department truck that we need to send to the landfill, we may have to throughout the year add additional vehicles, so we keep that money in the account just for that occasion.
Have we ever considered rolling over the money from the year before?
So I can't do that. So if the money was, if it was allocated in the previous budget year, you can use those dollars. Otherwise, it rolls into surplus.
All right.
Yep. From our perspective, again, just to, anything that we hear about sanitation is always positive. So we do appreciate your effort. Please pass that along to your team, and we thank you for your efforts there.
I thank you. I got a very good management team under me, and we've got very good rank and file workers too. So, and you give us all the equipment we need, so.
Thank you so much.
Good team, we're a good team.
I have one question now. On the cleaning of the trash cans, is that a cycle that you do? You post that so people know when they need to put their trash cans out and how that whole thing, how does that work? Because I know that I have a doctor's office that's like across the street from where I live, and they seem to get their trash cans like cleaned like all the time.
If you can call up and schedule it, and then we'll put you on the list, the girls will put you on the list, and we'll come out on the day that they give you. But the day that we do that, we also go into an area of town that's being serviced that day and try to capture as many cans that we can that are out on the street for people that don't call in. But I mean, if you need them done, just pick up the phone, call it down, and
No, I just think it's
we'll
a great,
schedule it.
I think it's a great program because, you have your trash can, you use the same thing. If you live there for 20 years, you're using the same trash can. It'd be nice to get it cleaned on a regular basis or something like that, so,
It should have been in the calendar
Okay,
that you could call to schedule.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, I missed out. I have a large family, so I have 2 blue cans and 2 green cans. And the one day that I didn't have as many recyclables to go out, my one blue can got cleaned. I was like, oh, I forgot to bring out the other one.
So as John said, we'll run maps of the town, and you'll see on a street, you'll see all the cans parallel to the curb, so you'll know that we run that street and clean that many cans, and then typically neighbors will see it, and then they call up, and we'll get back there and clean more. But it is easy to call and let us schedule it out for you.
Thank
They also decorated with a decal that says clean.
There you go. No mistake in that one.
Yes, thank you.
We're gonna go into public buildings and grounds, pages 25 and 67 through 68.
That's Brian Burke.
67 through 69.
So we have Brian Burke, runs our buildings and grounds division.
Hello, Brian.
Questions or comments from council on buildings and grounds? We certainly have enough of that, so we appreciate your efforts there. Seems like every year we're adding new buildings, right? We were talking about the species of trees and, anyone?
Nope.
All right, Brian, I think we just
Thank you.
appreciate your work and
Thank you, Brian.
Brian,
the way you
thank
go about running your department.
We'll go into parks maintenance, pages 59 and 121 through 124. Bobby Higgins.
Anyone for Bobby on parks? Yeah, we're just digging up through the pages. Bobby, just in general, our little neighborhood park where I live up in Strawberry Hill is a big hit with my grandkids, so I appreciate that, the good work you guys do. And I know we have them all over town, and sometimes we kind of underestimate how important they are until you start to take advantage of them again, so I appreciate it.
I agree. The park where my grandkids live, it's packed, that park, all the time. They're in there. They love the park and everything that they do there. And if there's any issues with the equipment or anything, you guys come out right away. You're very responsive to when the neighborhood sends an email saying that something's wrong with one of the playground equipment, so.
We try. Thank you. Anyone to my left on the parks?
And Springwood Swim Club looks just amazing. You have all worked so hard over there. It's such an asset to Colonia now, and I'm sure it's going to draw new families in. It's just absolutely beautiful. So thank you to your staff for putting that all together.
Thank you.
And all the events that here on the council that we are responsible for and that we put together and ask the Public Works to help us out. You guys are great, and we know that we can't do these types of events that the public comes to us and says, hey, it would be nice if we can do this without Public Works. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Going once, going twice. All right, Bobby, you're good. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Bob.
Going to school custodians, pages 26 through 28 and 69 through 71.
We have Tom Patton, who runs the custodian division. That's quite a few employees, not an easy task, a lot of schools. Good evening.
Hey, Tom. Questions? It's just a general comment. I'm in and out of a lot of our buildings, and many of them are not the newest. Some of them are, but some of them aren't. But no matter what's consistent about there is the maintenance, the cleanliness, the respect that your staff has when they interact with the public, so we appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Patton, question, I'm all about preparing and making sure that we're anticipating. So I see that we spent some money on furniture this year that, although we didn't budget anything, did we experience like a flood or something in a building? I'm looking on page 27. We spent $6,240 on furniture, but we didn't appropriate anything for that for last year.
Do you have a line item?
That is line item 4330. It's the second one down on page 27.
We're not on page 20.
I think
I'm sorry?
That's personal.
Personnel, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm looking in the wrong area.
We clean the furniture. He'd love it if you bought those. No, buy it.
I'm looking in the wrong.
He was wondering, you got something new that he hasn't seen yet. It was like Christmas.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
6971, okay. Well, I will say this, Mr. Patton, you always pick up the phone when I call. You know I get a lot of usage out of the schools, and you make sure that there's a custodian that's always available to come out and help out with the sports or any of the programs that we need at our schools, so I do appreciate it.
Well, I just want to say it's a pretty monumental task, and I have an excellent group of supervisors, and as well as my rank and file that make this all happen.
Thank you.
I assure you. Thank you for those comments.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom. It starts at the top. Appreciate you. I think so.
We'll go into wastewater and the CP site. Joe Forgetto, can you get personnel back in? Yeah, I was going to joke.
Hey Vito, get personnel back in here to answer.
That's what I said. I hope the Karen back here.
So we have Joe Figaro from wastewater. For any questions or comments?
Hey, that's my job. Any questions or
I'm just the
comments?
introduction.
You did the introductions, I do the questions or comments, boss. To my left?
Let's go back to 1610.
Anyone? This is an area, Joe, where, nobody thinks or talks about until something goes wrong. So I think, again, the way that your department is run and your team is greatly appreciated, unsung heroes, and, I think the silence of the council is a little bit more out of respect and appreciation for what you do, but the floor is still open in case anyone has.
I will echo your comments, because living so close to a pump station, the way your crew comes in quietly, very early in the morning, services the pump station, and moves throughout the community. It's, as Council President has said, it's something that we take for granted. And a lot of it starts with you and your crew. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a great crew down here.
Also, Councilman, the equipment that is involved, and, you see it reflected here. I mean, the amount of equipment and upgrades we're constantly doing to the stations and the main plant, it's a large budget, but it's money well spent, and these guys do a phenomenal job in maintaining all of that equipment.
Great.
Thank you, Joe.
Anyone else to my right? Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you.
Just
Oh, we got
one
CP.
comment
Stay
before
right
we
here.
go to the next, I was just looking through here from your comment, Councilman. There's about 475 years of experience here. As I'm looking down this road, I've worked with these guys for 40 years plus. There's about 475 years. It's incredible. Thank you guys for what you do. Appreciate it.
Great, you all look good for your age, too.
Kevin was a heck of a pulling guard in high school.
There you go.
Director, am I missing anything else?
No, just the CP Chemical site, that's all, that's the
Right,
last
that
one
was-
we have.
87, 197 through 199.
Nothing on my list. Anyone into chemicals? I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Great job every day.
We will go into the
Good job, guys, thanks.
Thank
Thanks for tolerating us.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Again, the Department of Recreation. Mr. Molnar coming in.
He is. He's part of the crowd. He's
Yeah, we'll we'll go, Department of Recreation, starting with S&W, page 13, and 24, 25 will cover the Barron Arts Center, and then Recreation to follow, and then Celebration of Public Events before we go to the Rec Utility.
Just want to say, you guys are the best-dressed directors.
Thank you. Should have saw me this morning, you would have said.
So, I have a question on page 23. Can you find the little number there? It's real quick, I'm sorry. We don't have extra. 3510, which is salaries. So, we're decreasing our salaries. Are we rearranging someone or changing the number of people we're having working there? We're dropping the salaries by, we dropped it, it went up this year, but then next year, we're reducing it.
Councilwoman, that was the 27 pay in fiscal year '23.
Okay.
And then also, we're down one part-time employee at the Barron Arts Center.
Are we gonna keep it that way, or are we looking to hire someone there?
I think she's looking to find somebody, if she could. The extra hands are always good.
Okay. No, I understand.
Anyone else? What,
This is Barron
This was
Center.
Barron Art
Yeah,
Center?
we can go into recreation, which is page 60 and 125 through 127.
Director Molnar, I'm gonna make this brief because we have the Journey Tribute Band in a few hours, and I don't want to be late, but in Rec Services 3320, page 126, line 4910, in advertising, we requested 15K in 2023, I think, and then we only spent like $1,200. And are we amping up our advertising? What's the reason?
Council President, we put money aside for the Middlesex County Magazine, but it actually went into John Haggerty's budget. It hit there,
Okay,
so.
so we're kind of settling in back in 2024. Any other questions, council?
Page 127, actually it's 126, 127, other outside services, 4995. Seemed like we had almost $500,000 since like 2019, up to 3/4 last year, spent at 864, but we're only requesting 260 for the upcoming budget. Can you explain that, please?
Councilman Bauer, so we used to do our rec programs out of there, but now we moved that under rec programs.
Okay, thank you.
And then we can also take the public event celebration 150 to 152 if you'd like.
Okay. All right, any questions on that? Public events? There's enough of those, babies.
If not, then we can follow also Mr. Molnar with the rec utility for the WCC, Springwood, all the rec centers, the club, the museum, and the APAC office. And those would start at pages 63, go up to 82 under S&W. I'm sorry, actually start as low as 50, up to 82. And then the OE from 134 can go up as high as 247.
Is 127 Avenel Street the APAC office?
Yes,
Okay. And 86 Green Street is the History Museum?
yes, it is.
Would think Council President would know that, but I just want to make sure.
Question going back to page 151. Can we get a definition of what is included in other outside services that is about around 400,000, 455 to be precise?
So that would be, Councilman Anderson, our AED program would come out of there, fireworks would come out of there.
Okay.
This is
Great. And I do want to say thank you very much for providing the AED devices to all of our recreation programs throughout Woodbridge Township. That and as well as the training that goes along with it.
That was a great program started under Mr. Simaluka when he was the rec director, getting that going, and it is a great program to have, and it's our honor to do it.
Thank you. And while you're here, I'll also, being the president of the Pop Warner organization, I know that you had a lot of involvement in Pop Warner as well. Our recreation program, I get updates regularly from Mr. Tominski about the numbers. They're continuing to increase throughout Woodbridge Township, whether it be our soccer, baseball, basketball programs. The utilization of our outdoor courts and our indoor courts and have been phenomenal. And I also appreciate you working with us recently around men's recreation and increasing the opportunity for men to go out and shoot some hoops after work and to have that avenue in Woodbridge Township. So totally appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, we had that program that was in place for a long time. In traditional rec side, we have women's rec on Monday nights, we have men's rec on Wednesday night. You know, after COVID, we're finally, this summer was finally like the summer of 2019. And, you know, in September, when we go back, we'll have men's rec again on Wednesday nights. We're looking for Woodbridge Middle School. Women will have their night still, and we're just looking to get back to the way it
And
was
2 years
before
ago,
COVID.
Woodbridge had never celebrated their Juneteenth event, and the Recreation Department was extremely supportive over the last 3 years. And we're looking to have a third year of, or a fourth year, actually, it'll be fourth year, of our Juneteenth celebration. So thank you.
Well, thank you to you and your committee. Anything we could do to help, we're here.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you so much for all the children's programs that you started this year along with the concerts, because the children's plays and the children's music is just another added event to take care of the youth in our town. And I just find it really, really exciting for a lot of the families. And we've gotten great feedback from the plays that were done at Acacia Center, as well as the music for the children that was done at the new Parker Press. And Parker Press is great. The farmers market is really doing well now that it's in the new park there also. So I think that we just need to keep improving on the farmers market with all the events that are coordinate with that on Saturday. And you guys do a great job. It's a lot of extra hours that you put into on the nights and the weekends. And I appreciate everything that you do for our town, and your staff does for that.
Well, thank you for your support, the council supporting, allowing us to do these programs. And, you know, we piloted the children's programs this year. It was a huge success. So I'm sure next year there'll be more dates on that concert card that goes out. So looking forward to it.
Ain't no more room at the end.
We need a bigger card.
Sunday
Yeah, I know.
The card is ever evolving depending on the weather, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're
yeah.
good tonight, though, aren't we?
No, we're not.
Postponed.
No, we're postponed.
It's postponed? Oh, for God's sake.
Okay. Thought I was gonna get out of here.
Oh, man.
No, it's still on.
Director,
Council
wrong answer.
President,
Give me your
still
all
on.
night now.
I have no, well, since it's under the ice rink, I just have a question. On page 242, and it is line 4515, I believe it's maintenance. So in 2023, we only spent around $1,000, we requested 30, and we've got considerable amount we're requesting. Again, we're requesting 30. I think we requested 80 in 2023, we only spent about 1,000, now we're down to 30. Are we doing our own maintenance here? Is that replacing something?
Well, it's the line for preventative maintenance on the club dehumidification system.
I got you. So it's hard to predict. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. But all kidding aside, I feel I always, and I say this to you, you know, that I feel like all the good things that are happening in town, you and your department, Patrick, you guys have your hands in. I don't know how you do it. You have a tremendous staff. And I think together, we all appreciate the great work that you do. And, you know, we have that saying about being the best town around. But some of these programs, many of these programs that you do are the reasons we get all of these compliments. So thank you again to you and your staff.
Well, thank you. I'm lucky, I'm blessed. I got a great staff. And like I said, I work in the best town around because we have the best mayor and we have the best council. You support us in everything we do. We get to be creative. You allow us to be creative. And, you know, we're just glad that you appreciate everything. It's for the residents. That's what we
Good
do it
team.
for.
We're a good team, Brian.
If nothing else, we'll go into the other utilities, the parking utility and the marina utility. Pages 88.
Oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
For Springwood, I had said, just complimented Mr. Higgins for all his hard work, but I know a lot of it was your vision, and it's just absolutely beautiful, and I know you worked very, very hard on it, so I appreciate all you did, and I know the residents of Colonia do, too.
No, I'm excited about
So,
Springwood.
yeah,
No,
it's so beautiful. We
I've
cut the
never
ribbon the other
stepped
day,
foot in
and-
Springwood until, you know, we took it
Yeah.
over, but it is such a great spot and the potential
Yeah, there's so
that's
much to
being brought
offer.
out
There's a
now.
spray park, the mini golf is beautiful, and it really came together beautifully.
I
So
said it
thanks
the
for all
other
the
day,
hard
it's
work.
a mini resort is
It
what
is, it
what
is.
it's gonna wind up being.
Don't tell too many people. Thank you.
Just like a colony.
Any other questions or comments, council?
Parking and the marina utilities.
I think you guys are good.
Marina, right?
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Any questions on, you guys are just on the marine, right? The
Yeah.
marine utilities? As someone that frequents that area, I think, it's tremendous, the upgrades we did and everything, little things from the security around the marina and the efficiency of having, and I've said this, but it's the maintenance. If you're a boater, by the boat ramp, to have two areas to launch your boat separates us from many other water towns, access to water, because in the old days, those of us that are into boating can remember that the line would go all the way up the street towards Moby Dick to wait for one spot to drop it in, but now it's wide, and when you're coming in, you've got the two ramps that go out, and it's one thing to have those, but the way we maintain them is a job well done, and then everything down at the marina is awesome. Except for the guys that hit the docks when they're parking their boat.
Yeah, and the tugboats with the wake.
Any other, specifically on the marina and that type? Anything? All right, I think you're good now, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And then, Mr. President, we're gonna go back to the beginning.
Wait, are we gonna do parking utility?
We just did. You
But
got
that's not them, right?
No.
Okay, I do have a question on that. I have two. Page 202, Director Simaluka, line 4995, other services as it relates to parking utility. We requested a significant amount over what we actually spent last year.
What number are you looking at, Council
I'm
President?
looking at line 4995, other outside services. Like last year, we were just under 30,000. This year, we're pretty high.
So that was engineering for the parking deck that was never built.
Mm-hmm. I got that. You explained it to me. My other one is just a general question. On page 202, line 8815, what is principal dash BANS for 182,794? I'm just at a loss of what that is.
Debt service for the parking utility.
Okay.
So, those are notes. Yeah.
So that's some kind of like financial term that you guys throw around it?
Short-term financing.
Gotcha. Thank you. Education. Not only are we reviewing budget, we're learning. Thank you.
Good.
Yep.
Then we'll jump back to the business administrator. Page 4 and 13 through 16.
Any questions, anybody?
The mayor, page 1 and pages 2 through 4.
Questions? Mayor's office.
Law Department, pages 14 through 15 and 40 through 42.
Anyone on the law department?
We'll jump over to the municipal council then, page 2 and 4 through 5, and thank you, Mr. President, for helping me put that together.
Questions or comments on that department?
And lastly, then the municipal clerk, page 3 and 8 through 10.
The municipal clerk who keeps us all on the straight and narrow, answers all our questions, gives us guidance when we need it. Mr. Bitch, we appreciate your effort and guidance along the way.
Thank you.
Unwavering.
I would just like to second that too. Thank you for all the time you spent with us. You're always so easy to call and explain any question we have. So we appreciate all the hard work you and your staff does for us.
Thank you.
I'm right there with you, Deb. I mean, for me, it's great because I'm still learning a lot, and no matter what I have, no matter what time of the day on the weekend, you're always there to answer. Even when you're on vacation, you answer us. So I appreciate everything that you do, especially for me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This guy might not appreciate it much, but I forgot Manny.
He thought he was gonna get a,
He almost started that.
Sorry, but we can end on a note.
Yeah.
So, Council President, if you will, just a couple of quick comments. First of all, I'd like to thank Mayor McCormick. This is the third consecutive budget cycle that we've kept the budget flat. His leadership and your stewardship over the budget has been second to none. I heard all the accolades that you laid out before the employees here. All of that credit goes to these folks, because day in and day out, they live this budget, they work within it, and they perform at an extremely high level. I work with fantastic people, not to mention those folks that do this budget. So our CFO Manny, our Deputy CFO Manny Fernandez, our Deputy CFO Michael Klepchak, Katie Muller, who sits behind you, does all the hard work, and Casey Wagner. These folks, we work with each other day in and day out. I know you guys look at this and you approve it and you file through it and it goes hard. These folks live these numbers and trying to make them work and squeezing them and condensing them. These folks are absolutely the folks that do the yeoman's work, so I appreciate them. I hope they know that. I hope I don't twist them too much, but they get it done every year, day in and day out, but I'd like to thank them. A special thanks to the mayor. His leadership is incredible. There's no one that knows municipal and state and county budgets better than Mayor McCormick. I learn from him every day. I think we've collectively learned from him every day, and we appreciate his leadership. Thank you for your cooperation and everything you guys do. I know this is not an easy task, but we appreciate your oversight. Thank you, Council President.
thank you, Director Semaluka. Any questions or comments?
Thank you for all your hard work. I know we had a lot of questions and we, get a little frustrated with things because we don't always understand them, but thank you for being patient and we know you put a lot of time into it. We do appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Okay, guys, thank you for your efficiency, as I said to all your department heads, and we appreciate the great work that you do. And could I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.